Alright, I'm pretty sure everything is like, okay, I need to put up my volume there. Alright, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another live stream, another broadcasting here live of the STB Racing League. We are here to provide some good quality racing here as we introduce the Austrian Grand Prix. Well, actually, it's a sprint weekend. So we're going to be seeing not just action in just the Grand Prix, but we're also going to be seeing a multitude of action across a nice little 2 hour period, I reckon. Tier 3 is not our most quickest or whatnot thing, but we certainly have some good entertainment whenever we stream it or whenever we broadcast the entertainment here. I am your commentator, Pistol. I thank you all for joining and watching us here today. And let's see, really, how the drivers will fare around the circuit of Austria. Now, Austria, the tricky circuit that it is. It's the shortest track in all of F1. With just a minimal of 10 turns around it, you are very much reliant and depending on the... Apologies. On the on the aerodynamics of your car to try and get past the person ahead of you. That's why the ERS management and the DRS management is so crucial around Austria. Not only that though, we are going with the one-shot qualifying because we are going for a sprint weekend. This is to decide who's going to be lining up where in the sprint race. So here we go. Sinan up there in the top spot. Blur Callum though, he's diving up there with a McLaren. Dominic and STB Maldi in that top three. You can just see these three trading spots at the moment. Maldi, Callum and Dominic here. Who's going to be taking that top spot here right at the very end as Kezem retires from the qualification? Dominic still progressing forwards and still keeping his P1 here inside of this one-shot qualifying session. But Dan coming up there in P1. He must have had a poor right-hander here as Dominic still is able to keep that top spot. The two McLarens, though, just lurking behind him here in Callum and Chemical. Either one of them can switch round here as we enter the third sector here through this left-hander. Now going to the right, and Callum is now in the top spot. It looks like that Dominic had a big slip up there. He's in P2. It's Callum and Dominic pretty much for the top spots. The two McLarens are flying ahead here. Callum is still in P1. Dominic is very close behind. He's no longer behind, and Callum's been disqualified, or he's got a lot of time off of his lap time, and Chemical is able to take the top spot right at the end. It's a big slip up there from Callum at the end of that qualifying session. Of course, with the one-shot qualifying, you only have one chance to put in a good lap. If you go off track, if you go off the white lines, you are disqualified from that session. And at the last turn, Callum got disqualified, meaning his teammate Chemical comes through to take the top spot here. Leading into the sprint weekend, we have Chemical at P1, the top spot, as the man from Panama gets the top spot. I'm pretty sure that's the Panama flag, unless I'm being stupid. But it looks like East here is in P2, McMullen in P3, Maldi P4, Kiku P5, Boschmaster P6, and so on and so forth. Yeah, Callum, very unlucky. You can see he is the top out of all the people who were disqualified and lost their times, meaning that he was the quickest. Of course, a man from Northern Ireland as well. So here we go then. We'll be going into the sprint right here, right now. It's going to be an entertaining one, folks. It always is entertaining here in STB. And let's just see what they can do, what they can produce on this track once again. Well, throughout the season so far, it has been a thoroughly entertaining season. And throughout so far, Mark Tunjic has been taking that top spot here in Tier 3. I don't know if he's racing tonight. It didn't seem like he was he was racing, but I think he is in the lobby. I'm not too sure. I didn't see him in the qualifying session. We'll see if he is. He is only 1 point ahead of DJ Danny, who is in P2, 54 points, and Mark Tunjic is in P1 with 55 points. So it is a very close standings here between those two drivers. It's going to be a critical race here today to see who will come out on top in terms of the standings. Let me just take a look at the left hand side. Do I see Mark Tunjic? I don't think he's there. I'm not seeing him. So I don't think he's with us for tonight. No, he is there. He is there. I see him in the Alpine. He is there. He's just got lower cases, so it's difficult for me to see that. It's XRL. Button. Hello, Button. How are you today, lad? Watching or witnessing the lovely Tier 3 Grand Prix, well, sprint, really, originally here. Of course, after this, we're going to have our break week because F125 loves to glitch. We might have some issues here tonight because it's a really poor game, so we may have to, of course, go to a different server, a different lobby and whatnot, and this, that, the other. We may have some delays. But the strategies here for today, in Tier 2, all good. I hope we have a great race tonight. I assume we will have a great race tonight here, Button. I assume we do, so you better stick around for it. I mean, the sprint is just going to be all pedal to the metal. Absolute bish bash bosh, see what happens. The tyres are interesting though. Maudi is the only man to not have mediums and hards, and it's an interesting strategy from Maudi. Because we saw in Tier 2, Maudi was my co-commentator. Well, I was his co-commentator, basically. We were sharing the comms box, and Maudi noticed that AMG, the man who won, I'm pretty sure, the sprint race, was on hards the entire time. And he noticed that at the end of that sprint, what happened was, it's because the mediums were so quick to die down, the hards ended up being the quicker tyre by the end of that sprint. Dan in 18th. Well, we'll see if Dan in 18th can actually climb up the leaderboard. A lot of people got disqualified from the qualifying session because, of course, you have the one-shot qualifying session and whatnot, and it's very difficult to keep your car in between the lines here in Austria. So a lot of people got disqualified. But here we go. It is 5 red lights. And it's green light, go, go, go. Here we are in the sprint race in Austria. And straight away the Ferrari of East had a fantastic getaway from the line. The Ferrari shooting up into P1. And his teammate in Mick Mullen is there in P3. There's been a lot of chop and change in the middle here. Kerem is side by side here. Mark Tunjic is side by side with him. No, he's not actually. It's the McLaren of Blur Callum, who is now on the left-hand side. He's looking to keep his position as we look up ahead. Boschmaster is trying to get a manoeuvre. Of course, on the person ahead of Kiku, but going down into this right-hander, Eastview is still in that P1. Chemical is not able to look and search for a manoeuvre down the inside, as so many people typically do in this bit here, but the McLaren is going to look for the outside lane here, going with the double left-hander. It's a very difficult manoeuvre to pull off. Going on the right-hand side, going on the outside in the double left-hander. I think someone was on the gravel there, and that's Cinetic, sorry. There in the V car. V goes off track, and Maudi was able to pull through. If he is able to conserve these tyres well and keep in between 1 second to Boschmaster, I do believe his hard strategy will work. Chemical is my other driver I brought across. Absolutely, my friend. And Chemical right now, he's doing well in P2. He did not have a great getaway, unfortunately for him. But East is in P1 right now. He is determining what is happening on track. He's dictating what is going on the track here tonight. But here's Mark Tunjic. He's gone off track there into turn 1. The standings leader going off track there. Not something you want to be doing to try and keep your position at the top spot. And you can see just behind, Dan now is going to be on the right and on the left-hand side, sorry, of Hussein Kuzi. Something's happened. It's Kiku. He's gone onto the grass. He's made a mistake. And now he's down and paying the price for it. And the Red Bull there, I think of Kezen almost smacking the back of him. He had to be very careful to avoid him there going onto the exit. If he was going to hit him, it could have led to a bit of front wing damage, leading to him having to go into the pit lane, causing him massive amounts of time loss, which you do not want here in the STB Racing League. But here's Maudi, the owner of the league here in P4. The hard strategy is not doing too bad. He is still able to keep up the pace of the people ahead of Mick Mullen, Chemical, and East. Here in these top spots. East, though, is still in that top spot in the mediums. He is doing well, dictating the pace. He is providing the necessary amount of pace to keep at the top spot. This is a great commentator. Thank you very much, King Marley. I do appreciate the kind words. Hello, Cabrado today. Alex did not cook today. Well, we'll see if he can cook later. Unfortunately, of course, having to go into the pit lane earlier. He did go into the pit lane, the Haas car. I assume for front wing damage himself. So it's not looking good for the Haas car, but it is still looking good for East. But he is now looking behind him. He's looking behind his shoulder, thinking to himself, that man Chemical is getting a bit too close for my liking. And he's going to go on the left-hand side here, round to the right-hander. He's going to search for the outside move. And can he stick to it? It's a very limited amount of space the Ferrari gives him on the exit. And he defends it well, East. He does defend it very well. He's able to keep that top spot. And Chemical is forced to stay behind for another lap. Maudi waiting a set of odds. Yeah. I mean, that's the strategy, though, isn't it? And here's Chemical coming through Eastview. What's happening to him? Because East is dropping like a fly. He's falling like flies. He's falling like a bee in rain. And Chemical has come out to rain so far here in the sprint race. He's come back up into P1, but Eastview is not going to allow that to happen. He's going to try and dive it right back down the inside going into the first turn. The Ferrari, given the amount of space needed for that dive bomb, he could not make it stick though. But his teammate in the Ferrari here, Mick Millen, is going to be coming up here. East is getting very close to the McLaren here. He's going to go down the inside, going into the hairpin at the top of the hill here. Can he keep the position to P1 now? Still around the outside goes Chemical, but he's got a 3-second time penalty. He went out of the white lines. Unfortunately, he had to pay the price. He now has a 3-second time penalty, but he will get that removed if he does report that, because he did not gain enough time on the driver ahead of him. So he can get that time penalty removed after this race, ladies and gentlemen, as long as he's being careful. But now you can see all of that fighting, folks. All of that fighting has now led to this massive train. And Maudi, the main thing for him is just stick between these people ahead of him. Stick between the people ahead of him, and hopefully the hards will kick in near the end of this sprint. And I think already they are starting to kick in, but you can't be going outside the tracks like that, Maudi. It will not work in your favour. I think Maudi's certainly somebody you need to be looking at here. But here's Callum. He's going to be looking at Maudi, saying, I want that position. Thank you very much, my friend. But Bushmaster has to give way to the... it has to give way to Callum, as Callum now looks for the move on the STB Racing League owner here, Maudi. But going into the top of the hill here, Maudi is... Oh, wow, 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 wow! That is a massive moment there for the McLaren, and he's round. It's an absolute piss poor attempt at getting an overtake. I'm sorry, that is poor. And Maudi has now left the session. He's going to be absolutely livid at that. He's been working really well with this strategy, and now all of a sudden his AI has to take over. He's going to be losing a massive amount of time here on the racing track. You can't... I mean, that's really awful for Maudi. It's really awful for Maudi. He has said multiple times that his Wi-Fi has not been great over the weekend, and unfortunately it is showing here today. Chemical back in P1, and East has now got a 3-second time penalty. So Chemical and East are matched on penalties. Mick Mullen is behind, technically on track. Mick Mullen could just stay behind these two in the top spots, and he could just keep the position and win the sprint race. But we do not know after the sprint race if those penalties can get removed up ahead of him. If they can get removed up ahead of him, then he's going to have to make manoeuvres here and now. Maudi, by the way, dropped all the way down to P8. I don't think he can take control of his car because he joined, but he's not taking control of his car. I'm not sure what happened there, but here's Dan surging through, and here's East. Round the outside he goes. There's contact! There's big contact! Massive contact between the McLaren and the Ferrari. And Eastview is round, and Blur Callum and Chemical lost massive amount of time and is behind Callum. If I'm honest with you, I think that is Callum's fault. Chemical's fault, because he understeered into that back right tyre, and unfortunately spun a Ferrari round. And now it's the perfect position for Mick Mullen. Perfect position for him. He's leading by over a second here in the sprint race with only 6 laps left to go. He's in cloud 9 at the moment. The Red Sea just parted for him, and he went through it and said, thank you very much, my friends. I'll be taking that P1. Very rough stuff for him, and you can just see how difficult this track is in staying between the white lines. As, look at this! The man of the moment this season, Mark Tunjic, is all the way down on P17 with a penalty. It shows you how difficult it is keeping between these white lines here in Austria. Almost half the grid, over half the grid, well over half the grid, have got 3-second time penalties, all because they can't keep the car within the white lines. They're going outside too much often, and unfortunately they're getting punished for it. But the man who is not doing that is Mick Mullen, and then rightly so. He is leading this Grand Prix after a big mistake between Chemical and of course his teammate East. As now here we go, Hussein Kuzi going down the inside of the V-carb here of Synetic as he goes down the inside, keeping wheel to wheel now, going onto the exit. On the right hand side he goes. Now it's going to be very difficult to get the manoeuvre here done and dusted. If he can, the Mercedes, it'd be an absolutely cracking move, and he can. I think they had a bit of contact though between Synetic and Kuzi, but either way, it's a very nice overtake from Kuzi, and he's got to try and not spin out there. But Kuzi with a very nice overtake. He's up into P8 himself. Kerem though, he's sniffing the back of this V-carb as well. He's wanting a little bit of that action. Going into this right-hander, he's going to look for the outside line, and I don't know if Hussein Kuzi or STB Maldi is just holding up these lot, but it's a very small train. I think Maldi's got wing damage actually, no he hasn't, but right on the outside, it's 3 wide going into the first turn between the V-carb, the Sauber, and the Aston Martin, going onto the exit. Synetic is taking the lead out of the 3 of them. Kerem, though, up into P2 of these lot. He's now going to look for another manoeuvre here on Synetic, going down the inside, going into the hairpin. He's gone too deep, he's gone way too deep, and there's a big contact. They're ghosting onto the exit of that turn. STB Maldi is going straight at him here. He's wanting his position back. I think he would be raging at the fact that he got 3 wide into the first turn. It's a very difficult place to go 3 wide as he sends it down the inside on 2 drivers. Can he stick the landing? Yes, he can. It's a 2 for 1 like a Tesco meal deal. Unbelievable stuff from STB Maldi. He absolutely sends the thing, and he gets his reward. Unbelievable stuff from STB Maldi. The battle for P8 right now, which is, I believe, is the only point that you can get here. And there's a Sauber, it's Dan! Dan's made a big mistake. Dan's made a big mistake from the top spot. Maldi's now got a penalty. I can't believe this. Boschmaster, Mick Mullen got a penalty. Boschmaster and KQ is the only 2 people to not have penalties at this entire circuit, and this entire race. Tier 3 really struggling to keep the car between the white lines. Dan, though, he's going to be on the back of Kerem here. STB Maldi, he's in La La Land pretty much, but it's all a big massive moment there between Kerem and Dan. Massive moment between the 2 of them. Big contact. It could have led to a fatal moment here for the Aston Martin. Luckily for him, he is still able to keep himself on the track. Mental moment between the Sauber and the Aston Martin, and I think Kerem is lucky to escape it. But here we go though. If you're just tuning in now, we're at the ending, the business end of this sprint race. Many people getting warnings, not being able to keep the car in between the white lines. It seems like that could be a crucial thing going into the Grand Prix here. But if you take a look at the penalties, 3-second time penalties for Mullen. It's George Hutcher. He's made a big mistake. He's on the gravel. He's made a massive mistake here, the Aston Martin. He's getting himself back on track. And that's just not something you want to see if you're a fan of the Aston Martin, or if you are rooting for George Hutch, or if you're George Hutch himself. But this is a big moment here. Last couple of laps. Mick Mullen definitely has the pace to try and beat out Boschmaster here. He has to create a gap of 3 seconds, as he does have a 3-second time penalty. He has to create a 3-second gap and keep above a 3-second gap for him to win the sprint race. It's a big moment here in the last couple of laps. The nerves are going to be high, but especially with Callum now battling Boschmaster, it is going to be greatly detrimental to Boschmaster. If he does battle Callum, it will lose him a lot of time, and it could be fatal in deciding who is going to take the P1 here, who's going to take the win, who's going to stand out of them all here in just a snippet of the sprint race. Going on to the last 2 laps now. Mick Mullen here in P1, 3-second time penalty, still going forward, pushing on, driving at his best. Same with Boschmaster, but with the lurking Callum behind. Could he make a massive impact into deciding who wins this Grand Prix, this sprint race? And down the inside is going to go of the Red Bull. Boschmaster now in P3, but now he could potentially use some DRS, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he can. He uses the overtake as well. He's getting the slipstream. He's getting quicker as it goes. He's looking for the outside line. Here we go, into the right-hander. Absolutely lovely cut off there by Callum. But now look at this, just that little bit of battling, and now it's 3 seconds between Boschmaster and Mick Mullen. Boschmaster needs to clear Callum, as he's doing right now, sending it down the inside, going into the right-hander. The Red Bull ahead by just a nose as we go into the 2 left-handers. Very difficult to get the manoeuvre on the outside here for the Red Bull, and he is going to get cut off by Callum. And as you can see, this battling has created a big gap, almost 4 seconds between Boschmaster and Mick Mullen. It will indefinitely certify the win for Mick Mullen now, if he can just keep the regular pace he's been going at and steer it across the line for the victory. It's been an entertaining sprint race so far, but I think McMullen is going to take this just due to the amount of penalties that has been going on, and also Boschmaster battling Callum. Callum having the key into making McMullen win. But also, if you take into account what happened between East and also, I forgot who it was, Chemical, East and Chemical, those two were the top spots, then all of a sudden they had a bit of a collision up into this corner, which Boschmaster is looking for a switch back on Callum. He cannot get it. East with another 3-second time penalty. ERS being used here on the final lap. Can the Red Bull get close to the McLaren? I don't think he can. I do not think he can. The league leader, by the way, here, Mark Tunjic, is in P13. He is not driving well in the sprint race here at the moment. Of course, he has got 55 points. DJ Danny just behind him with 54 points. As there's a bit of a manoeuvre here going on. Kerim sliding across to try and get the best of the V-carb here of Cinetic. Can he do it? I think he can. He has got the manoeuvre, unless Cinetic wants to go for it into the double left-handers. But McMullen, great drive. A bit lucky, but nevertheless, he'll take it. McMullen comes across the line. A great drive from McMullen. Just pace was consistent. He made sure not to get into trouble, and he takes the checkered flag. Lovely win there for McMullen. He'll gladly take the 8 points going into the Grand Prix, and that's going to feel mighty, mighty, mighty well. Congratulations to McMullen here in the Ferrari, taking the sprint race across the line. And yeah, Mark Tunjic, it's a surprising P10 finish, not even getting points in this sprint race. The league, you would expect the tier leader to be on the pace, on the front foot. It seems like he's on his back. Well, there you go, everybody. That is the sprint race done and dusted. McMullen comes across the line to take the win. He'll be absolutely loving that, I'm indefinitely sure. He does his little wiggle across the line as well, which I'm sure he'll look back on the stream and he'll think to himself, mighty, I had a lovely time driving that. But he has 8 points to claim going into the next. I'm sorry if you can hear a plane. I do live near a little airfield, so some planes do drive past quite often. But there you go then, folks. That is a sprint race done and dusted. STB Maldi, sorry, finishing 7th as well, which is not going to be a fantastic position to be in for the race. He had hard tyres. The strategy, I think, would have worked if he didn't get disqualified. And yeah, Dan taking no prisoners. Well, unfortunately, it seems like he was a bit of a prisoner there in his own right in that race, because he wasn't able to push up further or get across the line, really, which is unfortunate, of course. Let us know your predictions for the Grand Prix, everybody. I would love to hear who you think is going to win the entertaining Tier 3 Grand Prix here in Austria, as a lot of people are leaving the session. Are we starting a new session? What's going on here? Mark Tunjic has left. East has left. I'm gonna just message Maldi and see if it's a new lobby. If so, I will have to pause the stream. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. A lot of people are retiring from the session or leaving the session. I just messaged Maldi, you know, new lobby. I don't think we are going for a new lobby, even though a lot of people left the session. But either way, here is Blur Callum here in P3. Dan is in P1 now. Dan is not taking prisoners now. He's in P1. He's got the pace here so far in the beginnings of this sprint qualifying. Never mind, he's made a big mistake. He's gone into the wall. I think it's his AI taking over. I think they're all retiring. Yeah. I asked Maldi if it's a new lobby. I'm not sure if this isn't a new lobby and it's just a weird mistake. Then I do apologise for the poor commentary. I'm just gonna go ahead and check on Discord, which you can join, by the way, to join the STB Racing League. Yeah, I believe we're gonna have a new lobby, folks. Yeah, yeah, I think a lot of people. Okay, we're gonna have to stop the stream. I'll be back in a minute, everybody. Yeah, please stand by. We will be back soon with the Grand Prix here in Tier 3.